Have you ever stopped to think what would happen if two beings who breathe death decided to face each other? I'm not talking about ordinary villains, those who give pretty speeches about world domination. I'm talking about creatures who find genuine pleasure in others' suffering, who smile while life escapes from their victims' eyes. Close your eyes for a second. Imagine the smell of sulfur mixed with the cutting cold of the underworld. Now, imagine two predators, each king of their own hell, meeting in a dark corridor where not even hope dares to enter. This meeting never officially happened, but what if it had? Death math? The name itself is a declaration of intent. The Gold Saint of Cancer didn't earn that title by accident. The Cancer Temple in the sanctuary is decorated with faces of people he killed. Men, women, children, it didn't matter. Each face frozen in eternal terror was a trophy hanging on the walls like paintings in a macabre gallery. And he was proud of it, while other Gold Saints fought for justice, for Athena, for some ideal that gave meaning to the absurd power they carried. Death Mask fought for the pleasure of watching the light fade from someone's eyes. The sekishiki, Meikai Hatekni, wasn't just an attack, it was a sentence. It sent the soul straight to Yomotsu Hirasaka, that place between life and death where spirits fall into a bottomless pit while screaming for salvation that will never come. Now, think with me, on the other side of this dark equation, we have if you watched Soul of Gold or followed this saga, you know the god warriors of Asgard were respectable opponents. But Deathtoll was different. He wasn't just powerful, he was corrupted down to the last atom of his existence. Representative of Mizar Zeta, he carried with him an aura that made the surrounding air feel heavier, harder to breathe. Deathtoll collected souls. Literally, each person he defeated had their essence imprisoned, condemned to exist in a limbo of eternal agony inside him. He didn't kill out of duty or orders. He killed because it fed something inside him that had long since stopped being human. See the cruel irony here? Two collectors. One keeps faces on walls. The other imprisons souls within himself. Both transform death into art, into hobby, into reason to exist. Imagine this encounter happening. Death Masked walking through Asgard's frozen corridors, that cynical smile stamped on his face while analyzing every shadow. He senses something different in the air. It's not fear. Fear he knows well. It's his favorite perfume. This is something else. It's recognition. Deathtoll emerges from the darkness as if he were part of it. Their eyes meet, and something strange happens. Neither attacks immediately. For a moment, there's almost admiration. One monster recognizing another monster. But this isn't a story about friendship between villains. Egos that size don't coexist. They don't share territory. They don't share anything. The first exchange of blows would be devastating. Death Mask would advance with the ferocity of someone who never needed to fear anything in his entire life. His fists carry the coldness of 1,000 executions. Each movement is calculated not to win quickly, but to prolong the suffering. Deathtoll would respond in kind. His sapuri isn't just armor, it's an extension of the darkness consuming his soul. Each counterattack would come accompanied by whispers from the souls he imprisons. Voices begging for help, voices cursing, voices that long ago forgot what hope was. You know what would make this battle different from any other? Neither would be fighting for something greater than themselves. There's no ideal here, no protection of innocence or defense of a kingdom. There's only the primitive desire to prove who's the supreme predator. Death Mask would try to use sekishiki makaiha. He'd send Deathtoll straight to Yomotsu Hirasaka, that precipice of lost souls. But something unexpected would happen. Deathtoll knows this territory. The souls he carries recognize that place. And maybe, just maybe, he could navigate that hell in a way Deathmask never predicted. Because it's one thing to send someone into the abyss. It's something completely different to face someone who already carries the abyss within himself. The battle would drag on. Walls would crumble. The ground would crack. And both would keep smiling. Because for creatures like these, pain is just another form of entertainment. But here's the question that won't go away. Who would win? Deathmask has the advantage of refined technique, years serving as a gold saint, even in a corrupt way, shaped combat abilities that few in the universe can match. His Cosmo, when raised to Maximi, is terrifying. Deathtoll, on the other hand, has something Deathmask might underestimate: corrupted purpose. The souls he carries aren't just passive trophies. They're a source of power. Each imprisoned spirit adds a layer of strength, of resistance, of pure, concentrated evil. Think of it as two different poisons. One kills fast, the other kills slow. Both are lethal. The question is which strikes first. I'd risk saying this fight wouldn't have a clear winner, not in the traditional sense. Perhaps it would end with both destroyed, their essences mixed in a whirlwind of evil that would contaminate anywhere they fell. Or perhaps, and this is the most disturbing possibility, they'd realize that, together, they could be something much worse than apart. Imagine Deathmask with access to the souls Deathtoll collects. Imagine Deathtoll with knowledge of the path to Yomotsu Hirasaka. Such an alliance wouldn't threaten just the Sanctuary or Asgard. It would threaten the very structure between the world of the living and the world of the dead. But villains of this caliber rarely form lasting alliances. Their nature is to consume, and eventually they try to consume each other. It is funny how we sometimes root for the heroes without realizing how much the villains reveal about human nature. Deathmask and Deathtoll are distorted mirrors of impulses that exist on a smaller scale in all of us. The desire for power, the temptation not to care about consequences, the seduction of cruelty when no one's watching. They chose to embrace those shadows, made them their identity. And maybe that's why a confrontation between the two fascinates so much. It's not about rooting for one or the other. It is about watching what happens when two forces that should cancel each other out collide in the moral vacuum where both exist. In the end, when evil meets evil, the real loser is anyone nearby, any hope that dares to exist in the same space as these two entities. But tell me something. If you could watch this battle from beginning to end, knowing the winner would emerge even stronger, even more dangerous, even more thirsty for destruction, would you watch anyway? Or is there something in all of us that secretly wants to watch the world burn, just to know what the heat of the flames feels like?